Hi everyone, since this will be the first meeting for new commissioners, we thought that some basic information covering a few basic laws that you will work with would be in order. And it never hurts for anyone who's a seasoned commissioner to hear this again, just as a quick reminder of some of your duties and responsibilities. The first one I wanted to talk about is that as elected officials in Iowa, you are covered by the open records or sunshine laws. So that's open meetings, open records, chapters 21 and 22 of the Iowa Code. These laws are designed to allow the public to know what government does on a day-to-day basis. They're not really designed to be, gotcha, you did something wrong. They're designed so that we all know what we're doing in government, and for the opportunity for the public to know the good work that you do as commissioners. You know, sometimes you feel like you're, well, back of the ballot, because as elected officials you are on the back of the ballot. But your work should not be back of the ballot for people. What you do is important. So publicize it, let folks know. With 5 commissioners, 3 of you compose a quorum. So when 3 or more of you are together, it could, and that is could, constitute a public meeting. Now you might be in church together, you might be at a ball game together or something like that. That's not necessarily a public meeting. Don't be talking about business there, but that type of thing is not really covered under the law because that's an incidental thing. But if you're traveling out to meet with a producer about a conservation issue, if you're traveling somewhere together to a meeting, you really should let folks know that. And all you do is simply post a notice 24 hours in advance that you're going to be together and you might be discussing topics. It really is fairly clean. So in the commissioner handbook that you will get, chapters 21 and 22 are included. Look them over. You can pretty well understand the meaning behind them. And if you have any questions, the folks at the Attorney General's office are always there ready to help. The next chapter that you will deal with is actually the soil conservation chapter, or as it's titled in the Iowa Code, soil and water conservation. It's chapter 161. It covers the duties of local elected soil and water commissioners, as well as the state conservation or state soil and water quality commission, and a few others. We're in the process of reviewing the commissioner handbooks that you're going to receive. They're going to be on the website for you to download. They do not currently contain chapter 161, but we will include the entire chapter so you can read it. Hey, it's great late night reading, you know, if you're bored and need to sleep. I'm a former legislator, I understand that. I do suggest that when we make that available, and we will try to get that out there as absolutely soon as we can if we don't have it by January 1st, but it will be there by the middle of January at the latest, that you at least read through and thoroughly understand subchapter 2, which is your chapter as commissioners. That's the chapter of the code that lays out your duties, delineates your job and responsibilities. There are a few other places in 161 where you have duties that you should pay attention to as well, so reading the whole chapter would be good for you, but really pay attention to subchapter 2. 2 points that I want to bring out right now are plans that are in that chapter. Very important. The first is the Soil and Water Resources Conservation Plan, often referred to as the 5-year plan, and the second one is the District Annual Work Plan. As the name implies, the 5-year plan should be renewed every 5 years. We're looking at potential resources to help ensure that you're getting that done and doing it well. One of the very important points to remember in that is public input. Have public meetings. Ask the public what they want in that plan. It's a very important point. The annual work plan, as it says, is an annual work plan. It lays out what you want to achieve for goals during that year. And that 5-year plan is a great resource when you're laying out that annual plan. And again, use the public. Let them know what you're doing. Brag about the conservation work and water quality work that you're doing. And your planning process is a great way to do that. to talk a little about financial responsibilities. Susan, I'll let you have that one.
Hi, I'm Susan Kozak. I'm the Acting Division Director for Soil Conservation and Water Quality within the Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. I want to thank all of the commissioners and welcome the new ones. You guys have a really important job and we really appreciate your service as elected officials. And you have a great opportunity to impact conservation in your area. So I would strongly look at those plans that John is talking about and look at those and see what the plan is for your area, because that's your chance to make a big difference. As far as financial responsibilities, we just wanted to hit a high point today that as elected officials, you guys do have a fiduciary responsibility. It's a very important one, and we want to make sure that each of you know that you are responsible to be making sure what is going on with all the financials in your district. One board member should be looking at an original document from the bank, or at least logging in online and printing out a copy of that statement each month and compare that to what the documents that you're being presented at your board meetings look like. Do they look the same? Do the amounts total up the same? It's a very big responsibility and something that we want to make sure everybody's taking it seriously. Another point we would like to make is about the funds that SWCDs or districts have in their accounts. All funds that a district has are public money, whether that money has come from fundraisers, from tree sales, or businesses that a district might have, such as a seed drill or other equipment. It is public money, and it should be treated that way and make sure that all uses are in the public good. And also, commissioners should remember that only commissioners should have access to their financial accounts. That means online access or signatory responsibilities. That should be with the commissioners, and no staff, whether they're federal, state, should have access to be able to control those accounts. And also, we would recommend district staff do not have that access either. We really appreciate all your efforts that you do out in the field offices and for conservation. And if you ever have any questions, we do have staff out and about all the time, and we would be happy to assist you.
One other point that I wanted to make that's very important in my opinion is decorum, legal issues, ethics, discrimination, and those types of things. We hear about it in the media. We don't believe it happens in Iowa. It can, and we want to help you be on guard for that. As elected officials and as partners with state and federal agencies, you are responsible to follow legal and ethical guidelines and laws relating to discrimination and harassment. These legal requirements are explained in the Commissioner Handbook and on the Commissioner Training PowerPoint that's posted on the CDI website. Now understand, as commissioners, you are covered under the state's tort liability law, as long as you're carrying out your duties with due care and in good faith. And in one of our future videos, we are going to have the Attorney General's office come in and talk about what that tort liability protection means for you as elected officials. If you're doing your work in good faith and with due care, you're covered. And we're going to have them come in and talk about that. Ethical conduct is really not legally defined, but it's more understood that elected officials, you're to conduct your job in a professional manner. You do hold a public trust. In meetings in your district or anytime you're out in your district, I would recommend that you conduct yourself in a manner that would not embarrass yourself or your fellow commissioners if that were publicized. There's two ways to look at this. Believe me, I know this first one. Do not do anything that you would not want to be the headline on the newspaper the next morning. I've been the headline of my local paper many times when I was a county supervisor. Fortunately, they were all good. I even made the headline on the Des Moines Register once. Luckily, that one was a good one. But it can happen. So be careful to say things or not say things that you wouldn't want to appear on the headlines. The way I look at it, I've got 3 little granddaughters. I don't want to say anything that I would not want my little granddaughter repeating in church. That pretty well sums it up. If you have any questions, please contact us either at CDI, contact IDALS. We're here to help. We want you to be successful. we know you can be successful and will be successful. The Commissioner Training PowerPoint is listed under Resources at CDI. The Commissioner Handbook will be there as well. As I say, it's taking a little time to alter that because we're adding in some things that have not been there in the past and making some changes. So thank you for being willing to be conservation, soil and water conservation commissioners. Thank you for being role models for conservation.